Alright, we are back. I'm starting part 3 now. So, I'm going to be finishing up my transmutations and heading into Spider, as I discussed at the end of the last section. I have been doing some thinking about it. I think I am going to end up going with the Crystal Plate Armor. With my strength, it'll be pretty reasonable to overcome the penalties. People have pointed out, and it is true, that there is a penalty for wearing heavy armor while using unarmed, which is different from any other weapon. No other weapon gets slowed down by the body armor you're wearing, but unarmed does. So that's something to keep in mind, but with my absurdly high strength, I should be able to overcome that, and the penalty won't be too big of a problem. I will have to train my armor skill up fairly high, but you're going to want to do that anyway if you're wearing Crystal Plate Armor, because it will give you tremendous armor returns. Alright, so Blade Hands is at 12 with Wizardry. That's not too bad. Let's head over to the Spider Nest. Skeletal Warriors on D12, not something you see too often, but who knows, perhaps I spent too long on D12. Apparently I didn't even finish D12. Oh well. Must have missed that one as I was going through. I know I got shafted on it in the first time, but that's a fake spider. But apparently I still have a real spider, so just had 2 spiders and didn't even notice. I'm gonna wait a little bit before I put on the Crystal Plate Armor, just so that I can get Blade Hands going, overtrain it a little bit, and then I won't lose access to it as soon as I just get it online. Gonna want to move it to B. Alright, so the only thing in here that's gonna be a little bit annoying is going to be the orb spiders, who are difficult to get close to. If I had more poison needles, that would be a valid thing. I can always use Slouch. We'll just see how it goes, how annoying it ends up being. That shield will probably be an upgrade. Minus teleport. Oof. Alright, so I probably don't want to use that because of the blocking teleportation. Yes, you don't have to ask if I want to keep equipping things just because I'm poisoned. I don't really care about the poison. Alright, well, the artifact shield has let me down. Let's try now there's someone blocking me. But let's try see if Poison Spit will be good enough to take down an orb spider. Probably not in one go, but possibly in 2 or 3. Yeah, looks like 2 is going to be okay. I'm going to use Temporal Distortion, which passes a couple turns because I don't want to get hit by yet another orb. I don't mind being a little bit lazy and taking 1 or 2 orbs to the face, but you don't want to be taking 3 or 4 orbs to the face. This orb spider is now becoming a nuisance. Ah, he actually came within melee range. I will just punch him, and then he will run away. Alright. I'm probably going to have to just go pick up more poisoned needles. I need some sort of ranged attack in here. I could torment him. For now, just to get myself out of here, let's summon some spiders on him. Aww. There we go. Go kill. Alright, let's find some needle. Not too many of them out there, actually, but 15 should be enough with what I already have. bow skill, I could get tons of arrows here. Not that I have any throwing skill, but I wouldn't mind having throwing skill. Yeah, let's go ahead and run up to D6. Wastes a bunch of turns, but what the heck. I'm not particularly worried about my speed run, as this is not a speed run. Although I wouldn't mind having a nice turn count, reasonably fast one. Alright. I'll turn on a little bit of throwing. Just get a few levels to help with not missing things, although the +4 on the blowgun will help quite a bit with that as well. Alright. Change the blowgun to slot B for fast weapon switching. And let's see how my accuracy goes. Pretty good. It is going to definitely slow down how quickly I can tap through the entire branch, though. I do try to play relatively quickly just because I have done this a lot and time is precious. Confused, you can hold control and attack in a direction to make it so that you won't wander. You still won't always attack the correct space, but you know, it will certainly prevent you from stumbling around. If you're not familiar with the different ways of playing Crawl, this is Web Tiles, by the way. I'm playing online. I recommend doing that as opposed to local games because you will be able to get scorekeeping and brag to all the people in the tavern who won't really care, but you can do it anyway. That's what I do. High level spell book, that's very nice. Alright, he's mighty, but he's also constricted, so let's just go ahead and kill him. Have a regular sized shield if I want that, but no ego on it. One day I'm gonna make figure out how to change my RC file, stop telling it to pick up Randart weaponry when I have unarmed at level 15. Alright, so Blade Hands is down to 6%. You can probably start using that freely. Although I've been doing just fine with good old fists. Let's just demonstrate it at least. Whee! Everything dies until you get confused. And then you still kill everything. Because why not? I guess I could talk a little bit about what the various monsters in here do. Demonic crawlers are fairly plain. Like wolf spiders and redbacks are fast and poisonous. Most of the monsters in here are faster than average speed. But I'm not too concerned about that because I'm so much slower than average speed that, you know, everything is faster than me, so kind of becomes moot. Let's see, about fighting some of these orb spiders. Oh, hey, he came into range. Let's see if I can. Yes, I can. Yeah. I grabbed him, but he escaped immediately, so that's annoying. I assumed I had just not constricted him, but I actually did. Can I get him to yes, I can get him to come through. Since I'm in a choke point, he will actually come near me, which is great. Save me some needles. Probably should train some sort of actually strong range attack. Anyway, aside from orb spiders, the other notable one in here really is the tarantulas, which, as you've seen, have been confusing me an awful lot. There's no way to resist that with magic resistance or poison resistance. You have to have a Amulet of Clarity or some other source of clarity, which I do not have. Pretty sure I don't have that. Yeah, only amulet I have is Guardian Spirit, which at some point I'm going to want to remove, but I would like to have something else in its place. Yep. WebSocket was closed. So yeah, like regeneration would probably be ideal. I wouldn't mind even just like a placeholder like resist corrosion, resist mutation, which aren't really doing anything at this point in the game, but will be handy later on. Alright, if I want to get Freezing Cloud, that's always handy. I could do Mephitic Cloud to confuse orb spiders in here. Let's go into spellcasting and work a little bit more on regeneration, just for a little bit. Some of the other threats that you don't see as much on early spider levels, but will be on deeper spider levels, will be ghost moths, who are invisible and drain your mana. They can be fairly annoying if you are a more mana dependent casting build, but I am not any of those things, so aside from losing my Guardian Spirit effect, I will have no trouble with them. And then Emperor Scorpions are the big, heavy melee bruisers that are usually down by the rune. They can spawn on higher floors, but they're pretty rare on high floors. They usually just are down on the bottom. Haven't run into one yet of either the Ghost Moth or the Emperor Scorpion. There's the first Ghost Moth. So it's gonna drain all my power, but then die pretty shortly after that, which is about how it usually goes. Emperor Scorpions will probably be the first monster here that I'm gonna actually want to have blade hands on intentionally, because they have huge armor. I'm gonna also drive them up the stairs, since there seems to be a lot of things here. Pick off some of the weaker guys, and go back to slicing the Emperor Scorpion. Had 3 exclamation points on that, which means that I did at least 36 damage, somewhere between 36 and 72 damage. Ooh, another one. So a little bit unusual since this is only 4. Like if it was 5, I would say that's about what you would expect, but on 4 it's, I meant to go up the stairs, somehow I went up and left. Toss on some regeneration, heal up. And let's poison you. Regeneration's up to 5 pips. I'm going to drop my plus 11 armor. I don't think I'm going to be using that very much. Don't really need amnesia either, but we'll carry it for a little bit. Boring Beetle goes berserk. Alright, let's kill the boring Beetle first then. Go ahead and toss up some regeneration while we walk around. There's Arachne, the unique in Spider. She's not too strong. She does have poison resistance, unlike most things in here. Or I think she might just be neutral. Yeah, she's neutral to poison. She's just not vulnerable. And as long as you have poison resistance, she's not too scary. We'll warp some space to bring her next to me. Almost worked. She's a little bit further away. But constrict. Break out of the webs. I believe breaking webs is based on strength, which I have ridiculous amounts of. She actually did a lot more damage than I was expecting, but you know, still not too bad. Maybe it's time to get that crystal plate armor going. Wand of fire. What was the other thing that was here? It was just another wand of fire. Okay. I'll drop magical power. I don't really use that. Drop the amnesia already. Why not? Drop torment. Don't think I'm going to need ambrosia anymore. And then we can pick up Wand of Fire and get some of these rings. And identify. Let's go with the high level book. Okay, it's 9 nations, I don't really need that. Poison plus 5 evasion, that's good. So the RN is the only thing that's really going to help me. But I like the plus 5 evasion, so I will go back to training transmutations since I'm not going to wear wizardry anymore. Plus 4 Ring of Intelligence, that'll probably help with Blade Hands again. And yes, I am going forward when I have half health. That's just how I roll. It's definitely not the safest way to play it, but you know, I've got Slouch and regeneration. And I'm just awesome. I should probably put on background music just because I'm running out of things to actually say that are productive. We'll just do Zen mode dungeon crawl for a second here. Scroll summoning. I probably should be using those more often than I actually do. Dude, my Scroll of Amnesia didn't actually drop from before. No wonder I'm still running out of slots. Okay. I had monsters and sites, so it didn't let me drop items. ready for the last floor of Spider 5. And we will get our first rune. Well, let's go with more intelligence. Why not? 3% fail. This looks like the start of the rune vault. Let's assume that I'm correct about that being the start of the rune vault. And I'm going to mark it off for now, so that I can clear the rest of the level first. Usually whenever there's a powerful ending vault, such as, you know, any rune branch, elf, zot, you know, basically anything, you're going to want to save the vault for last, so that if you need to teleport out of it for some reason, you can do just that. Alright, it's just actually a little bit annoying here because I still don't have any mana from the Ghost Moth, and I wandered into some orbs because I'm lazy. So now I really don't want to take any more. Orbs of Destruction, but I don't have the mana to do a temporal distortion to, you know, blink out of it. You can block them with your shield, but since I only have a buckler, that's not terribly likely. Okay. So I can go with heal wounds if I need to. I can, you know, use blink to try and get next to him. I could try zapping her with fire. I'm not sure if they can see invisibility. Let's try our still 0 invocations. Spiders. If I can get 3 mana, I should, yeah. Okay, so there it goes. Pulls up my little minion. Thank you, little minion. Appreciate you throwing yourself into the boss. Now I'll regenerate, and it looks like my Giant Might is strong enough to take down an orb spider. Way to go, Giant Might. You spawn on D2, you're killing things in the spider nest. I'm going to use regeneration to try and ramp up my healing. Another orb spider. This time I won't walk into it. Let's try ducking behind my Giant Might. Nope, still hitting me. Another Book of Battle. Block off the rest of that, and we'll go to the upper left. Should probably be doing blade hands a little bit more often. Down to 2% fail. Doesn't get much lower than that. Take off these exclusions. Tab should really just rip you out of orbs. Webs, not the orbs. Nice if Tab removed orbs of destruction for you though, that would be great. Gonna lose all my mana and still have to deal with the orb spider. That'll be a pain, but I can do it. I've never been terribly good at dodging orbs of destruction, but if you have a handy corner like that, then it's extremely easy to step around the corner and be safe. But it's difficult to do in the open. It's particularly fun to do it with Boots of Jumping, which have been removed in Trunk. Petition everyone you know to return Boots of Jumping and feel a jump attack. It is the best thing ever. Confused and webbed. And now neither of them. I'm just gonna blow gun everything. You might as well. Let's take some blade hands out. Because I'm about to lose all my mana. Yeah, so I probably should have approached this part a little bit more slowly. I'll probably just teleport back. Wow, that was a lot of damage. Really surprised I'm taking that much damage. I'll go ahead and quaff heal wounds. Should be teleporting soon. But yeah, that was heavy damage considering my defenses. No regeneration. Alright, we'll back up. Let's go with the Potion of Might just to be safe, because even by themselves, one Emperor Scorpion is still quite strong, and I don't have the mana to do a Blade Hands right now. Ghost Moths. Alright, 13's definitely enough overkill on that. Let's get back into racing unarmed. I'm gonna leave fighting off for now. I want to raise armor a little bit more quickly than usual if I'm gonna go into the crystal plate armor. Normally, if I wasn't training for crystal plate armor, I would probably do fighting and armor at the same time, or maybe even just fighting. Dodging's already high enough for now, but we will definitely want that much higher later. So here we're just waiting for them to come out slowly, one at a time, and run into me basically, rather than having me charge into all of them. You have to be careful. One of the main things that kills characters at this stage of the game is overconfidence. I am rather strong, but the dungeon is starting to catch up. There are powerful monsters down here, and while I can kill all of them pretty easily in large enough numbers, they will swarm and overwhelm me, so have to be careful not to be super overconfident, even though I am trying to express how awesome this build is. It can still be killed. Confused. Stop that. I don't want to be confused. Alright, so now they're coming out at a more reasonable rate. Give a little shout, get one or two more. There we go. Yeah, come on out here. Oh, there's a orb spider. Sorry about that cough. Let's go ahead and weaken up the orb spider just because that is a lot of damage when I don't block the orb's destruction. Okay, that should be enough poison to kill him. Getting a lot of poison for a poison resistant race. Still only 3 exclamation points. Should be getting up to 4 pretty soon. Which would mean that your hit did 42 or more damage. 72 or more damage, sorry. One thing to note about Blade Hands is it does ruin your spell success rate when you're in the form. So don't try and recast your spells while you're in Blade Hands. You can overtrain something that's easy, like a regeneration spell. You can overtrain that enough to still cast it while in Blade Hands, but there's not any real need to do so. I have lured out pretty much everything in here except for, the corners where the rune is, but I should still probably be resting and restoring my mana before I go all the way through. Alright, so there's the first rune. We now have the spider rune, which is called the Gossamer rune, and we are done with spider. So we will go to the swamp. One more trapdoor spider, 2 more trapdoor spiders. Toss a couple needles right into the water, because why not? After this, I won't really need them anymore. Bless me. They really don't want me to leave the spider's nest today. Okay, so this is now the swamp. Might be a good time to try switching into the crystal plate armor. Let's see, what do I need to identify still? I have all my potions, all my books. You can probably identify the wands of fire. So then I stop wasting charges if I need a ranged attack. Only has 2 charges, okay. Yeah. See, I just don't know if I'm gonna end up finding enough enchant armor to really be enchanting all the things I need to enchant. I'm gonna want to enchant my barding at least 2. Depending on if I find better cloaks or helmet, there's gonna need more enchant armors there. So basically, the crystal plate armor is really good, but I'm gonna need a lot of enchant armors to really make the most of it. And so far, I've only got 3. I think I used 2 at some point or 1 at some point, but I really haven't been using that many. Oh wow, Nessos, thank you for coming directly next to me. That was uncharacteristically kind of you. Not that he's ever really difficult, because you can always just slouch him. Now Rupert is the Paralyze and Berserk one, right? Yeah. Okay, so I should have enough magic resistance to be immune to any of those things, but if he berserks, that's a lot of damage. Let's give him a poison spit. Let him get in towards me, and we'll start punching. Probably could have blade hands him, but in any case, it went just fine. I'm gonna actually focus armor exclusively for a little while and then make the switch into the CPA. Try and get it up to around 15 or so. Ooh, lightning boy. Shame I did drop the electric resistance armor, but I wouldn't be able to switch mid-combat anyway. So I have taken a lot of damage here. I don't have any easy source of electricity resistance. I do have the potion. Okay. I would rather him be a little closer to me, so let's bring him a little closer, quaff the resistance. And there we go. Nicola is pretty much just a check if you have electricity resistance. He's very easy, and if you don't have electricity resistance, he is not very easy. You can still kill him without electricity resistance. It's just going to be a lot smoother if you do. I'm not sure if he detects invisibility, but I would rather just be resistant than I hope he doesn't see me. Wand of Disintegration. That's interesting. Let's bring you right up close so you'll stop using it, or at least not have as many turns to use it so that I can take it. Javelins. I'll take javelins. I like javelins. Are those the first javelins? Alright, there were some up on D5. Probably should have picked those up. Luis. Luis is a unique capable of banishment, but he will not, or is it he or she? She will not be able to banish me through the magic resistance that I have, so it should be pretty simple. Nothing to worry about. And now that there's no confusing monsters and orb spiders, we can go back to running through this a little bit faster. Royal jelly, let's just eat it. I don't have the inventory space. Gloves is something I already have. Branded gloves. I'm gonna drop my enchantment. I'll keep the enchantment because I have that trove that I want to get into. I can drop brilliance, and I'll drop the cure mutation. I can always come back if I need them later on. +1 pair of gloves. Those are not at all better. It's a little bit annoying now that just +1 glove shows up as blue, because then I try them on to see if I can find something better, and they're just +1, which are really not better. Gonna try and give those a little bit more space so that they can break up. If you're in a more high pressure situation and you don't want to get hit at all by them while they're stacked up, use Temporal Distortion. It will break up slimes like that, and they don't get any chance to attack you while you're breaking them up, because Temporal Distortion is instant right there. So that's a very unusual keyword. There are very few abilities that are instant, but that is one of them. I think there's like 1 or 2 others. It means that monsters don't get a chance to act before you get your next turn. They don't gain any energy. I've always kind of thought that Step from Time should also be instant, but that would probably be a bit of an unnecessary buff. It would just be cool. Ooh, Mask of the Dragon. Yeah, I'll take that. I will take that. It'll help reduce my need for enchant armor scrolls, since now my +0 helmet doesn't need to be enchanted, because you can't enchant Randarts. Or unrandarts, as the case may be. It will lower my base AC by 1 though, because that's a hat and not a helmet. So now I really don't need that magic resistance chainmail. Do I still have? No, that's the only armor I'm carrying. I know there was a resist negative or resist fire somewhere, but I'm not gonna bother. I think it was player's Gale mode too. It wasn't a chain. Not that I'm particularly attached to chainmail at this point. I am, after all, attempting to go way heavier. Speaking of which, yeah, armor's at 10. Let's throw it on and just see how it does. Okay, so 35, 18. Attack speed 0.9, 0.8, 1, 1, 1. Alright, so at 15 I should be attacking at approximately 0.7. So there's 50% chance of getting +1 from that shield, so I'm probably looking at an increased delay of about 0.1 turn, 1 to 2 aughts about from this armor, which I'm okay with. I do not have a problem with that. It is, a pretty significant decrease in my damage per, time, but it will go down as I get a little bit more armor skill. I think I need around somewhere in the 15 to 20 range to get rid of it entirely. We shall see. It does put my armor up. Oh, not that much really. So let's see. It was 35 and 18 compared to 31 and 22. So I gained 4 AC, lose 4 EV, which is quite good considering that it's down 2 in enchantment. Like, the chainmail is +2, and the crystal plate armor is 0, or was 0. So now it's -3, and I have 38 AC. What happened to my flying? I'm all of a sudden not flying anymore. That was unusual. I'm not sure where that went. Good thing I didn't get dumped into the ocean. I actually had that happen to one of my characters, not because it should have, but because there was a bug with statue form melding items that had, that you could evoke for flight. If you melded a flight item, it would remove your flight regardless of how you became flying. So like I cast a spell to fly, but then I melded an item that was evocable for fly and drowned on the bottom of the ocean. Was not very happy with that, but it happens. Fortunately, it doesn't happen anymore. The bug has been fixed. Ooh, Roxanne. So that's going to be almost certainly statue form. If I can get close enough to her, this is going to be a little bit damaging. I'm going to take this one step at a time. Blinked. Usually she blinks you closer to her, but it looks like she's actually blinking me further away. Yeah, it's blink other close. You should be getting me a little bit closer there. 31 damage from a crystal spear. Oof, 45. But now I'm close enough. I'm gonna go ahead and punch. I am regenerating, and I can't get killed in one shot. But worst case scenario, I would have to blink out in one turn. I'm gonna go ahead and rest. There's a nice convenient little tree here, so I can rest nice and close to her. We'll even throw up our blade hands. She doesn't regenerate very fast, apparently. And down she goes. So there's statue form. I don't have stone skin, surprisingly. But I will take probably everything in that spell book except for Sandblast. Stone Arrow would just be nice for annoying things like orb spiders that are out of range. I wouldn't really say it's going to do much damage. But, worth just having some ranged attack. I should be a little bit more careful now that I have crystal plate armor. My blade hands is up to 12% fail. As I continue to train armor, that will help with that. I'm going to put a little bit into spellcasting as well. Bring that down under 10. Although I don't want to be using blade hands on hydras. You certainly could at this point. I'm strong enough that I could probably just chop off all their heads and kill them at the same time, but I try and be defensive and conservative about that. Asterion, usually a very threatening, unique, but not really a problem for me at this point. Blade hands and kill them. Alright, so there's 4 exclamation points on that attack, and we shredded it in basically one hit because it was healing as I was shredding the heads off, but nevertheless, that last hit was a very powerful one, and he went down. Or it went down. I don't know how to sex a hydra. giant leeches, although I haven't had any trouble with them. It's just a relatively strong monster in here, so don't let my tabbing fool you. Be a little bit careful around giant leeches. They hit pretty hard and they will heal themselves, as their name implies. So they can be pretty durable. That's my third centaur barding at this point. Not that I have much to complain about since I was able to buy a Naga barding early on, but I certainly haven't seen them scattered around before. And I think, yeah, 2 of them were even enchanted. 4 bardings, 2 enchanted. Glowing. So I have not had the same sort of selection with Naga bardings. Usually you can find a couple Naga bardings in the snake pit, but but since the snake pit did not generate, I don't have that luxury. But +2 flying is not a bad barding. So here's the entrance to the Rune Vault, and quite a fair amount came out to greet me. I'll take a step back, continue with the practice of marking things. Let's make that a little further back just to not cut off half the level. Agnes, that's a unique Spriggan who is very fast, always carries a lot. Lashitang, I think that's how you pronounce that name. Sure where that comes from. I think it's is it a Japanese weapon? I don't know. But not too threatening, and always a good slouch target if you need to kill her quickly. I think it's female. I'm not sure. If you need to kill Agnes quickly, then you just slouch. Particularly effective because Spriggans are very fast, but in general, if you need to kill anything, you just slouch. Just going through and look and see what I don't really want to pick up anymore. But it looks like most of this stuff is already pretty turned off. I could turn on javelins just in case I missed some. I think I might drop throwing nets at some point. They are usually always useful, and they do work pretty well into the late game, but at some point they just gotta move on. I don't have any slots. I would like to get a ring of cold resistance so I can drop the ring of ice. That would be very nice. I might drop that unidentified wand of fire. Hindrance. So gravitas is kind of interesting. Confusing touch can be handy, but I'm not going to bother with it at this point. Blade Hand's still 10% fail, but that should go down fairly soon. Maybe I can just dump 1 more level into transmutations. Spellcasting is not the fastest way to bring that into castable. Taking a lot of damage from this Valley of Thorns. They do hit pretty hard, and I can't really get to it. Okay, so that's not ideal, but did alright. I'm gonna have to be careful now because now I'm getting additional monsters, and I am low on health. Oh, he mighted a Hydra. That's gonna be interesting. Fortunately, when you have 40 AC, you can still get away with that. But yeah, do be careful of Thorn Hunters. They are quite deadly. They originally came from that forest zone, which was going to be a branch that switched with the crypt in the vaults, which comes later on in the progression of the game. But they got, when the forest got cut and is no longer in the game, they decided to just stick them in the swamp. And I'm sure those stats were adjusted a little bit, but they still hit very, very hard. Okay, so we've got the Liurnin Hydra here, who has 27 heads and does a lot of melee damage. You can take him out in melee, and I have done that before. I have 40 AC, so it would be kind of funny to do it again. I'm not sure I necessarily want to, but it's certainly something that could be done. I think I'm going to start by backing up one step and give him a couple of slouches to kind of clear out things. I'll throw a javelin at you, why not? Okay, so now he's pretty injured at this point, so I don't mind fighting him the rest of the way down in melee. As long as he gets softened up. Took 16 damage, 26 damage. Not really hitting him very well. Okay, there's a good hit. Alright, I think I'm gonna have to go with a slouch to just make it certain. I was missing too much. Let's see, let's take a look at this. So there's the kill, went up to 12 armor skill. Somewhere here, it's a little bit hard to go through this. So yeah, I had a hit. I had a 1 hit for 2 exclamation points, but I wasn't really getting good hits. So probably statue form would have been a good way to get, more likely to get high hits, but of course it would also slow you, which is something you want to be really careful of. This is not going well. I'm not landing any hits on this swamp dragon. I don't really want to use my last potion to heal wounds if I can avoid it. I shouldn't be taking much damage from a Hydra with 40 AC, but anything is possible. Let's go ahead and eat the Liurnin Hydra. Why not? I should probably be taking off the Amulet of Guardian Spirit. That's been hurting me in terms of always having mana available. I've been running out of mana every now and then. It's usually because of Guardian Spirit, so we'll take that off. But man, not very many good amulets this skin. Rage and Guardian Spirit. Okay, so next up is vaults. I'm not sure how far into vaults I'm gonna bother to go. I will probably end part 3 fairly soon, but we can at least walk there. I could use more food. Here we go. And while I'm going out to dungeon, I'm gonna be on D9. Might as well go find those javelins up on D5. And now we can go back down to the vaults. Here's that wonderful shop that we love so much. Don't need the Randar buckler anymore though. Alright, so here's the vaults. I am no longer Guardian Spirited. I should probably... I guess I'll hold out with 13 transmutations. I don't like overtraining transmutations too much. I can be kind of stubborn about optimizing experience when really it wouldn't kill me to put one more level into transmutations. Crystal Ball of Energy. Oh, the Iron Rod. That's always been interesting. I've been meaning to play with that ever since it got added. Basically cast, I think, Iron Shot or something similar to Iron Shot for you. Although if I end up going statue form, I'll probably have enough earth to just pick up Iron Shot myself. Speaking of picking up spells, I have Deflect Missiles memorized. It might be a little bit hard to get that casting in Crystal Plate Armor though. Certainly something I could do eventually, but I might end up putting 1 or 2 more points into strength just because I want to really make sure that I don't end up with an additional delay on my attack. I am still, you know, I think it's probably, looks like about 2 aughts are being added because of the crystal plate armor. So minimizing that's going to be very important, which is why I'm trying to focus so much on armor. Blade hands down to 6%. That was a pretty sharp dive. What did I pass? I don't know, some sort of a not very granular step down. I didn't change any equipment or anything. Okay, well, 6% I am happy with. So we'll just blame the armor skill for the drop and keep training on. Massive damage. 2 blasts of flame for 35. Yeah, so I don't think, yeah, I'm not wearing any more fire resistance. Let's put on fire resistance. I don't really need the +4 intelligence, although that might change my blade hands rate again. Yep. Oh well. If you're not being lazy and you don't want to die to bolts, use lots of temporal distortions against yak packs. It will save your life. And the only good Naga is a living Naga. Have to be careful here because I don't have electricity or corrosion resistance. So we want to treat those monsters with an appropriate amount of respect. Yak packs are one of the classic threats in the vaults. Aside from them, you have ogre packs for the melee equivalent, but they're not as threatening in general. And then there's all the relatively new human mobs, the Vault Wardens, Vault Ironbrand Convokers, those sorts of things. The ceiling door can be dangerous every now and then, usually not too bad. Sentinels marking you is extremely bad, but if you have enough magic resistance, it shouldn't happen that much. And I think I have four pips, so I should be pretty safe. I think they can, they cast against like half your magic resistance. Or I don't know, they can still nail it, land it sometimes against really high resistance. I'm not exactly sure what the cutoff is, but it should be very unlikely with 4 pips. Other than that, you just have to watch out for Convokers who are summoning more monsters towards you. I'll actually let them do it sometimes. If I only have like 1 Convoker and he's summoning, I'll just wait for him to finish summoning so I can kill the monsters that he summons. It's not actually as a summon spell. They just move monsters from somewhere else on the floor towards you, so it makes it so there's less monsters somewhere else. Which is why that's sometimes a good thing. Come on, regeneration. I mean, no, it's not super successful anymore after putting on crystal plate armor. I should probably dump a little more into charms. Oh, that's the crossbow hallway. There's no magic crossbows in it. Well, that was a rather stuffed entrance. Let's take the slimes up the stairs with us. Okay, fine. Charms. Norris. Yeah, so he's the paralyzed one. Kind of similar to, what's his name? The other berserker guy, whatever. Anyway, what the heck? We'll throw on some blade hands for him. Do some good shredding. You shred Norris. Isn't he the surfer, right? He was the surfer who had surfing removed from his description, so shredding is appropriate. Armor boutique. Alright, so I can get regeneration armor with no casting ability. I could have -3 cloak if I really want corrosion resistance. Yeah, looks like nothing here is really useful. The cloak of magic resistance is technically better than my cloak of nothing, but I have more than enough magic resistance at this point that I'm not going to bother spending money on it. It's only 161 now. Who knows? We can keep it in mind for later. Ooh, bolt of lightning for 36 damage. Mara, okay, so we're gonna want some fire resistance from Mara. I could take off my evasion +5 to get more fire resistance. Mara, before I fight Mara, it's a great time to mention that you do not have to fight all uniques. And it's probably a good idea to run away from a fair amount of them. But, you know, Chinaga, overpowered, everything dies. Demon Blade, there's my Demon Blade, excellent. So, you know, we just roll over things because we have Blades for hands and 40 AC before I, what changed here? Because I cast Blade Hands, so I don't get 40 AC when I'm in Blade Hands. Okay. Demon Blade of Electrocution. Do I still have? Yes, I still have my Scrolls of Enchant Weapon. What should I drop? I could drop the Ring of Invisibility and really piss off Sandman. That would be great. I might actually do that because I have 2 potions of invisibility and I don't expect to be using invisibility that often. So when I want to use invisibility, I might as well just use the potion. And then I'm sure that there will be complaints about that. Demon Blade of Electrocution, because why not make it extra better? That is one of the best weapons in the game, and it's the best brand for it. Generally speaking, I mean, you could argue about using like speed or vampiric demon blades over electrocution, but you know, it's definitely one of the very top things, and that would be a great weapon at all times for pretty much all characters. But we punch things, so we're gonna keep punching things. So I can now wield my Demon Blade. It's only +1, which means we need to find 2 more scrolls of enchant weapon. Oops. Did not mean to do that. How do I clear a key map? Hopefully that doesn't end up screwing me. Let's see, if I press add, yeah, I'm still going down. So, not sure what happened there. Let's take off the Demon Blade. We don't actually want to use it, although I could probably kill a troll with it with no Long Blade skill. It's that powerful. Alright, I'll try on the gloves, even though pretty much guaranteed to not be as good as the gloves of strength. About the only interesting thing it could be would be if it was gloves of dexterity, which generally I would say dexterity is probably better, but since I'm wearing crystal plate armor, I'm going to want to stick with the strength. I should probably just stop trying on gloves. Harpies are basically bats 2.0. They're, you know, much bigger and stronger, but they're the same thing as bats, and so if you ever need to kill them immediately, just slouch them, because they have very high speed and not terribly high hit points, although you know, medium hit points. Ooh, fire giant simulacrum. Gotta be careful with that because I am not resistant to cold. Alright, so I'm up to 6 spell power pips for regeneration. 6 hashtags. Hash it like you mean it. You can turn off charms for a little bit. At this point, I kind of feel like I just need a general mix of all fighting skills. So, not throwing, but fighting, unarmed combat, armor, and dodging. I'm going to throw on all of them and just let them all kind of rise together. I'm not, you know, in any critical need for any one of them, but I do want more of all of them. That's an interesting auto lock. Okay, there was gold in every pile. Gold in every step. Probably should have eaten some of those sheep, but we'll just eat something here. The door slammed shut. Oh no! Okay, I have actually taken a fair amount of damage. Whoa! The lightning bolts there up against the wall is very dangerous, but fortunately the guy killed himself with his own lightning bolt, so no longer something for me to worry about. Would have been better if I had been regenerating before I went into that fight. Regeneration is something you want to cast before you get into a fight and then let it just work all the way through the fight. I did not do that because I'm lazy and bad. Is that the whole floor? Yeah, I think that's everything here, right? No, there was some unexplored stuff up here. But now that's the whole floor. I will go with the strength. Try and make sure that I don't have too much unarmed delay from the heavy armor. And I think 31 int should be enough for any spell I'm going to be casting. Probably not going to find Singularity as much as I would like to. And that's okay. There was something I wanted to change. What was I going to do? Oh right, I was gonna rearrange my spells. I kind of just prefer Blade Hands on A, and Regeneration will be my B spell. Not that that's important to you. You can rearrange your spells however you like. I'll take another Wand of Fire. I haven't really been using them, but they're always good to keep around as long as you have some inventory space. And I just cast Blade Hands when I wanted Regeneration, so I have to get used to the change I just made. But I will do so sooner or later. Or we can just go take a break and come back tomorrow when I don't have as much muscle memory on my spell shortcuts. No, I don't want the meat. Alright, so there's the crypt, which we will be doing later on if I need more experience or if I go for 15 runes. I'm going to drop the poison needles at this point. I'll keep the blowgun for a little bit longer in case I find Cure. Wand of Invisibility. So there you go. Even more reasons I didn't need the Ring of Invisibility. Although the Ring of Invisibility is infinite and new wands are not. I do have a Scroll of Identify, so let's go ahead and identify that 4. Alright, so we've got a hasted Frost Giant, and I have no frost resistance. Let's take him out first. Let's take him out with Blade Hands. While in Blade Hands, do not cast Regeneration. 45% fail. It's identified as electric, but I don't care to actually pick it up. Bolt of Lightning. Let's try some Blade Hands, get this over as quick as possible. Got away with casting Regeneration, but we should wait for that transmutation to end. Scroll of Acquirement. I have still never found one of those, so let's buy it. I'll always take more teleportation and enchant scrolls. I want. That should be about it. Fog is useful, but I'm not going to bother. I've got a couple. I don't think I'm going to be doing any sort of Ziggurat runs. .46 armor. Let's identify this wand before we do acquirement. I'll drop the Ring of Intelligence. Okay, just a Wand of Frost. I'm thinking I'll still go with Wand. I would like a Wand to heal wounds. I could try armor. Jewelry's a decent third choice, but probably Wand or armor. I'll do Wand. It's just a Wand of Fire. Alright, so we lost the die roll on the wand. But that's the break. Them's the breaks. Let's identify another Wand of Fire. I'll drop one that only has 2 charges. back into the hallway so that only one thing can fire on me at a time. I guess I should go forward. The mage has a spear and the convoker is summoning, so he's not gonna come after me. I'll just go forward and fight two at a time. It's not a particularly threatening fight. Kill the thing, then eat. Come on. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and tab. I don't really need blade hands. Nothing here has that much hit points or armor. Maybe the orc knight, but not really. So we'll keep our shield and we'll just punch him. Could have probably used regeneration, but hey, we'll use it now. Flay Ghost. This would be a good time if I had statue form. Learned, but I have not been training any earth. Fortunately, Flay does percentage damage, so once you have like 3 Flays, the 4th Flay doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Basically a single target torment that gives you back the hit points at the end. Ruined helmet. I probably wouldn't care for any helmet over the mask, although if I did get a +2 helmet it would be probably about 4 more armor than the Mask of the Dragon. So here's Vault 4. This is the last 4 of the vaults I'm going to do. I do not want to go to Vaults 5 just yet. Before doing Vaults 5 I will do at least the depths, possibly also Crypt, possibly Elf. I usually do run Elf. I kind of like it. I'm good at it. It doesn't kill me. Some people will recommend not doing Elf just because, you know, it's dangerous and you don't need to do Elf. But I like shiny things. And Elf has some decent loot, although probably not anything critical to your character. But if you are, you know, missing something that you're really looking for, you can always try Elf. Alright, so I'm flying, so Earthshaker will not be a problem. He casts Shatter, which does 1/3 damage to flying targets. So if you cast it and you're not flying, you will take a lot of damage. But if you cast it and you are flying, then it's not much of a problem. I don't want any staffs. No staffs. I could keep Earth. Earth isn't too bad. If I was going to cast statue form, it would be handy. But I probably won't end up doing that. Unless I decide to go too extended. And by the time I'm extended, I probably have enough spell power anyway. I'm going to just drop to the Guardian Spirit. I don't think I'm going to go back to that. Potion of Degeneration. Alright, well now I just have a free item slot. Speaking of free item slots, I could just memorize Shatter and drop the spellbook, or I could even just drop the spellbook without memorizing Shatter, because I probably won't end up using Shatter. That one's dodging to 13, yeah. I should see how much dodging is actually giving me in terms of EV, although I think no, okay. I thought it just would put me up to 19, but that was just the difference between blade hands and not blade hands forms. So yeah, so I'm at 19 now, and I think it's just gonna go down to 18. What is causing that? Draconian corpse. Okay, no, so it is 19. Maybe was I drained? Might just be right close to the break point. We're up to 19 EV now. Almost getting back to where we were long ago. But, you know, I think the 46 AC is worth it. Just a little bit. Alright, so these guys don't want to come near me. I'm going to bring them down. I somehow have low enough mana that I won't be using blade hands. We'll just go ahead and punch. Gonna want to do this kind of slowly because this could be dangerous, especially with that iron dragon in the back. Might be better off just getting out of here. I could slouch him. That would get through most of the things here. The Yakatar would have a little more health than the Iron Dragon, but let's just get out of here. We've got plenty of scrolls of teleportation. And we can... nope, I was going to try and finish off that Fire Dragon before I got out of there, but didn't happen. We'll get him on the way back. Teleport remains your best friend. Do be aware of the risks, especially if you haven't explored much of the level. I've explored most of the level at this point, and the average spot that I land in, even if I haven't explored it, won't be too dangerous. I am pretty strong. We're not doing an area like Pandemonium that has Panlord vaults scattered about. Ring of Stealth, don't need that. Put our evasion back on, and now we are up to 20 EV. So that's raising both because I have dodging increasing it, and the armor skill is reducing the penalty of my armor. Although the dodging is much higher. We have our first spectator. So that'll go up. We won't be at 19 and 20 AC for very long. Yeah, so it's the gloves of strength that are raising my ability to wear heavy armor, which is what's making a difference in the 1 EV when I go from blade hands to not blade hands. No corpses, but there is a ring, so we can try the ring. Let's get some regeneration going since there's fire giants coming for me. It's just cold. Come on. Yes, finally. We can drop our ring of ice. So now I can get fire, cold, negative, and poison as needed. Still don't have a swappable source of our electricity. Ice Dragon armor. In case want to switch that. It's not very often that you see one pre-made for you. Probably came from this loot chamber. Vile Floods. I guess I can give up the blue gun at this point. Ooh, Dark Miasma. That's gonna rot me. We can use, of course, Temporal Distortion to disperse clouds that are short-lived. I'll use my Potion of Curing to cure the rot before I get additional points of rot. I don't care about a deck of cards. Glowing Helmet, I'm not gonna bother with it. Book of Fire. Don't need any of those. Scroll of Silence, can't hurt. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for part 3. So let's see, we are, can't bring up the character screen if I am still in the chat window. We're doing pretty well, we're up to 47 AC, 20 EV. The EV should go up pretty quickly as I keep training armor and dodging. I have, my Blade Hands and Regeneration going. I should probably consider picking up Deflect Missiles at some point, but it's going to be hard to cast in the Crystal Plate armor. Finally have most of my basic resistance covered. I wouldn't mind having Aura Electricity, but you can get through the game without that. Aura Mutation would be nice if I can get that for Zot, but I don't need it before then. And Aura Corrosion will basically just determine whether or not I clear slime or I don't clear slime. Let's see, I probably don't need to carry the Book of Clouds or the Book of Annihilations anymore. Alright, yeah, I think that's going to do it. I will see you guys all in part 4, where we will go to the depths and probably Elf or Crypt or somewhere along that. Somewhere of those 3. Most likely depths to start. Take care.